What's up guys, Vress here with the best MMORPGs to play on low spec PCs. I'm not going to beat around the bush with this, you're not going to be playing MMOs with cutting edge graphics like Black Desert Online. However, there are definitely some games out there that might be worth your time. I'm only including games that I would play myself if I was using a low spec PC. So this list won't feature browser games, side scrollers, or any of those cute looking Eastern 2D adventures. Not that there's anything wrong with them, it's just not my thing and I'm not informed enough to comment on them. Also, I'm not going to go into detail on each game. This quick video is purely about bringing the lower spec games to your attention so that you can check them out and see if they appeal to you. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's dive right in. As you'll all have different ideas about what a low spec PC is, let's start with a couple of games that you might be able to play. If your PC isn't super low spec and was purchased in the last few years, then there's a decent chance that you can play some of the more popular MMO titles, as they're actually fairly old themselves. This includes the current king of MMOs, World of Warcraft. Due to WoW being pretty old now, and having never been a game that has focused on high-end, realistic graphics, it'll actually run on a pretty mediocre PC. That being said, you will probably have to run the game on low settings, and may experience performance issues in raids and in cities during peak hours. It's also worth mentioning that system requirements were increased with the release of the Legion expansion. So don't just assume your PC can run the game, even if it has in the past. Guild Wars 2 is another potential option that could be run on low settings with a fairly low spec PC. However, be careful to read the requirements for the recent Path of Fire expansion, as they're actually higher than the requirements for the base game. You don't want to put all that work into reaching max level and then find out that your PC struggles to run the new content. So what are your options if your PC can't run the games we just mentioned? Let's take a look at a couple of fairly recent titles that should be playable on the majority of PCs, providing they're not full metal potatoes. Firstly, you could check out Albion Online. This is actually a new title that has only been around a few months. The reason that it doesn't require a high-spec PC is due to the fact that the game has gone for a more cartoony art style and has been designed as a cross-platform game that will soon be available on tablets. Albion Online is currently very popular, and you certainly won't struggle to find people to play with. You could also take a look at RuneScape. This is an older title that was re-released in 2013 with improved graphics, hence me listing it as a fairly recent game. This is another pretty popular title that's very much active in 2017, and most importantly, RuneScape has very low system requirements and should run on most PCs. Most other semi-recent releases either require a higher spec or just aren't games that I'd personally bother with. However, you also have the option of playing some older games. Firstly, you could check out the original Guild Wars game, which still features a small but active player base and stacks of content to explore. It could also lead you nicely into Guild Wars 2 when you manage to eventually replace your PC. Lord of the Rings Online is another option. It's a game that seems to have accumulated something of a cult following, and I've actually heard some very positive things about the game, despite its fairly limited success in the genre. Another less popular but surprisingly fun MMO you could take a look at is Dungeons & Dragons Online. Again, this is an MMO with a small community of engaged players that will run on a pretty basic PC. Much like Lord of the Rings Online, D&D is another of the MMOs that was actually okay, but just couldn't compete with World of Warcraft at its peak, and therefore it didn't make much of a splash. Finally, if you want to travel back to the game that did so much to shape the modern MMO genre, then you could take a look at Project 1999, the emulator that allows you to play the original Everquest game. Believe it or not, many people are still playing and loving this game, and it's going to run on the vast majority of PCs. Like I've said, these older MMOs are not heavily populated anymore, but still host small and enthusiastic player communities. You can often find the communities to these games on Reddit, and people are usually happy to answer your questions. These aren't titles that I would play in my current circumstances, but I'd certainly rather play them than no MMO at all. So there you have it, the best MMORPGs for low spec PCs, at least in my opinion. However, the people watching this video could benefit more if we all share our recommendations, so please do so in the comments down below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to subscribe to my channel for regular content, and I will see you next time.